online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, AfterBuzzers! Welcome to another episode, after show of Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce. Love this song. This is Season 2, Episode 2, titled Rule Number 77, Don't Blow the Bubble. I'm your host, Sam Davidson. If you guys haven't done so already, please go on iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud, rate, review, subscribe. We love hearing your feedback. We loved all the feedback we got last week. Please keep on doing so. You can find me, Sam, at SamD43 on Twitter. And I, of course, have my amazing co-host here with me this evening.
And you can find me at Isis Velazguez, and the number 4.
And I think we have some good shout-outs to get into before we start. We love you guys chatting with us. Keep on doing it. It was amazing.
Yes, thank you to everybody who watched us on YouTube and commented on last week's episode. Shout-outs to Cassandra Shelton, Kimberly Stedman Fox, Julia Wilkerson, Sarah Julie, and I didn't get the other person's name, but I have her screen name, Sidan Taitum. No, I'm seriously. It's not me. It's not my accent. That's how it's said. Like, it's so many letters. You can't even read it correctly. So
you know who you are.
Yes, you know who you are.
So thank you guys so much. And I want to start doing something else every week where on iTunes, we love having the reviews. It really helps us specifically on iTunes. So rate us 5 stars. But if you guys comment, we will read it live on the air the following week to get you guys to, enjoy the conversation. We'll give you a live shout out, read your message fully, and it'll be awesome. So I'm just really excited about the feedback we got last week and just that the show is getting. So what did you think overall of the second episode of this season?
The second episode, I think it was a little bit weak.
Okay.
Yeah, it still had some interesting choices with all the characters. And so let's start with Abby. The scene started with Abby.
Yes. Absolutely. Lily and Abby.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we ended last week's episode. So we kind of start right where we left off. And Lily is so funny. She is such an odd child. But ironically, she's a very typical child of divorce. A lot of times children tend to become more adult and mother their parents, and that's exactly like what Lily's character is. She's about to leave to go visit her father, and she asks Abby very politely if she can speak with her. And, she asks Abby if her and Jake are going to get back together. Abby's a little wishy-washy.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lily was like, well, let's just not tell the kids.
Yes, which is something so... It kind of sounds snobby.
I didn't see it that way, but I saw, I guess, a bit condescending.
Yes, it was a bit condescending, especially her being a child herself.
Yeah.
But yes, she, basically, Abby and Lily kept this a secret. And then later on in the episode, the bakery's opening up with Joe. And Joe and Abby, basically, after celebrating the opening, and we're going to get to the opening.
Yes, we'll get there.
They get into a little argument. Joe is asking Abby, what's wrong with you? What's the problem? And basically she spills the bean, and Joe is a little bit, how do I say this? She's angry that Abby told her daughter to keep the secret between
exactly
that her and Jake are together.
And the episode starts with this Lily, Joe, even though Joe's not part of it, Abby thing, and it ends with that. So We'll get to that. Mm-hmm. From there, we'll go on to Gordon and Delia.
Yes.
What are your feelings on them right now? I'm starting to like them more as a couple, but with that being said, I'm like, red flag, red flag, red flag.
The red flag that I see is that basically I think Gordon is going to get tired. Gordon right now, he keeps on giving and giving and giving. Delia, again, this time she doesn't have time. She doesn't have time to see anything. She's always on the clock. So what Gordon did is he brought her to her office, the wedding planner, a photographer, anything that she had to deal with making decision, he brought it to her office.
Which was really nice and accommodating of him. Yes. I mean, he literally paid for his fiance's time.
Yes.
And, at the beginning of the episode, what ends up happening is that he tells her, you need to meet with this wedding planner. She schedules it very begrudgingly and finds out that as she's leaving her office that one of her clients had passed away suddenly, hadn't signed the divorce papers, which is a huge thing, and, she basically needs to stay. She leaves. Her boss, Albert, I found out his name, the bald guy.
Yes. Hot guy.
Okay.
To me, he's hot.
All right, Albert. Well, you should find ISIS.
I should tweet him.
Yeah, you should tweet him. Seems like a nice dude. And by his character this episode is growing slowly, and he's weirdly growing on me. Not in the way he does on you. But, he's giving Delia a lot of crap, basically, this entire episode about, this is just the beginning, And she leaves. They go meet this crazy guy, Jonathan, who is their wedding planner. And he just asks them, power of flight or invisibility?
Yes.
And that would, define what kind of wedding or who they were, which was kind of crazy and fun. And he looked like he was 18 years old.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Albert, he has always been growing on me. And I feel like maybe undercover, he kind of has this, love for...
Yeah, you said that.
And undercover, affection or love or feelings for her.
Yeah, and I think you're right. And not to get into predictions, however, I do think that is going to be playing a part. As... For the time being, he's giving Delia a lot of crap, Albert is. Gordon is doing everything right. Mm-hmm. He really, really is. And it's fun to watch. And, Delia is slowly starting to warm up to wedding stuff.
She is. But this is where, again, I think I'm going to come up with my prediction here, is that Gordon keeps on giving and giving and being very attentive to her needs, of what it says she needs to make this a perfect wedding planning. I think he's going to get tired. I think he's gonna just be like, okay, I keep on doing so much for you. I keep on doing everything to make things easier for you, but you're not completely giving in.
Yeah.
She slowly gives in, but then again, I think that power, struggle is gonna be between them again. It's gonna resurface over and over again. It's this power struggle that they both are gonna have in this season.
Absolutely. I think he said something, or she said something, Delia, really funny during this episode. She said, you do whatever you want and I'll be okay with it. Something like that, which is what a guy usually says to a woman planning a wedding. He doesn't want to be dragged to all of these things. Either he doesn't want to, he doesn't have time. And she said that to Gordon. And then, Gordon says, well, you only get married, or we're only getting married once. And I was just like, well, yeah, but who knows what could happen. He's already been married. This will be his second wedding.
Yeah, and you saw his face. It was kind of like, really? You really feel this way? You want me to make all the decisions?
Yeah.
So again, I think Gordon is going to slowly get tired of giving in. Mm-hmm. He's going to just, and who knows, maybe he's the one that calls it off after she really
Oh, I just got the chills. I actually don't want that to happen.
But it could happen when I think she's doing everything to, please him. But little subtle things that she does still push him away. That in the back of his head, he's thinking, I don't know if maybe this is not the right woman for me. So I think that's what's going to happen. He's giving in, he's going to get tired, and he's going to leave.
I don't know. I mean, I love them, and I see them both changing, him more than her, as far as compromises to bring them closer together. And the scene with them in bed was just, really cute. They just really are obsessed with each other and love each other. So I'm looking forward to see where that goes.
I have a question for you as a writer.
Okay.
The Delia character was introduced to us as this beautiful, independent woman, never been married, and she is the face, I guess, the face of not anti-divorce, but
divorce.
Divorce. This is what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. As an audience, we're introduced to this beautiful, powerful woman, in a sense. Do you think, as a writer, you should cater to making this character switch who she really is, which is becoming a wife, a woman that gives into power. Is that something that a writer wants to do to kind of bring in new audience, or?
I think that a character like that could perhaps be faced with things like that, but she's such a strong-willed woman and character in general that it's interesting to watch someone. It's like a band, or like a rubber band that is not very elastic, and it's like trying to move, but then it's just gonna break. And that's what I think we're going to see with her character. She will break at some point because she's not capable, really, of changing. And she shouldn't have to change. You shouldn't really change who you are or have to do that because you're with someone that makes you change. I mean, sometimes people can change for the better, yada, yada, yada. But this is a kind of woman that is very Miranda from Sex and the City, and is, that character, Miranda, took a long time to come around.
It did.
And even when she did so, we learned to understand her decisions, and it was so subtle and a long time coming.
Now, Sex and the City was how many seasons? It was
6.
It was 6 seasons. So that was a long time for us to see the growth in that character of Miranda. But here with Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce, we don't know how many seasons it's going to be, but I don't think it's going to be that long.
I mean, I hope it goes 6 seasons like Sex and the City. I love that people are getting on this train, and I think it's so brilliant they put it on Netflix just a few weeks before season 2 premiered.
Is it something, do you think could happen quickly, that we see this change in this character and people are going to love it? Is it something that the audience is going to learn to accept if that were to happen?
I think the audience would have a hard time accepting her turning into a housewife. That's just not going to happen.
I will have a hard time.
Yeah.
I don't want her to be a housewife.
But with that being said, things happen quickly, which brings us into Phoebe's character with Marco. We were discussing last week that at some point, he will, go on a binge and not be sober and lose, everything.
Yeah, we were saying that either he's going to fall off the wagon, or he's going to catch himself and say, no, I got to leave you, Phoebe. This is not going to work. And actually, everything happened. He fell off the wagon. He started drinking again. And man, was he a mean drunk.
Yeah, I was like, well, that was fast.
But yeah, he was very mean to Phoebe. And basically, in the scene that we see him, that we notice, okay, this guy is clearly drunk because he's being such a douchebag, is when Phoebe's like, oh, look at the paper that I wrote for the school to post it on their newsletter. And he says to Phoebe, you didn't even finish high school and they're letting you put this in the school
Yeah, he's like,
newsletter.
That's hilarious.
Yes.
Starts laughing at her.
And you could see Phoebe's face just completely change. And that's when she realized, oh my God, he is drinking again. He fell off the wagon.
Yeah, I mean, she had not heard from him for days. And what's just kind of crazy to me is that one night she comes home and is drunk and smells like booze. That he must be a sick guy if that's something. That, to me, that's minute. It's not like she was taking shots in front of him and was visibly drinking in front of him. She passed out. She didn't smell good.
So you're calling him a weak man?
I mean, I'm saying that maybe he had a lot more, wasn't as strong and a lot more issues than we had thought, because I think that is small. That's a small thing to send someone totally downhill.
But we don't know what happened with the character. Maybe something that we didn't see, off air or whatever. Maybe something triggered it. It could be something at his job. Anything can trigger an addict. So it might have not just been the Phoebe fiasco from last week, her coming drunk. Maybe something else happened that trigger. And the good thing that I like is that he caught himself, and he was the one, later on, he met up with Phoebe outside of the house at a coffee shop, and he told her, for me to get better, I need to let you go.
Yeah.
So what we predicted last week, that this relationship was not going to work and that he was going to leave her. Because, again, this is the trend that I see with this Phoebe character. Men leave her.
And she's the most beautiful woman.
Free-spirited, she's one of my favorite characters.
Me too.
So
I enjoy her a lot. I think that relationship was doomed. While I thought that it would take longer to concave and break, their relationship. In a way, I'm glad that, like, episode 2, we're not counting on this anymore. We're gonna watch Phoebe be Phoebe, maybe find another guy. Like, we don't need to watch this train wreck. You know, a lot of times, like, when you're watching something, you're like, oh no, something bad is gonna happen. I'm glad that they're just like, okay, it's done.
Well, Phoebe is a train wreck, I think so.
And a mother of 2.
Yes, the mother of 2.
Very young children.
Actually, you're right. I'm glad that this character is done, her ex, but I am excited to see what new adventures Phoebe's gonna get into.
Yeah, and it's not that I didn't enjoy him. I actually really did like the character and thought that they were really cool together.
Yeah, but what else did he have to offer? He was a recovering addict. There was no excitement, nor drama, nothing to keep this character in her life.
Yeah, they just didn't have anything in common at the end of the day.
Exactly.
So, we're going to see Phoebe pursue her own things, and she is just a show on herself. Like, she's so much fun to watch. Yeah. I love seeing what she gets into and the crazy things she does based on her, like, mood.
Yes. That's what I'm looking forward to. I want to see the trouble that she's going to get into.
Yeah, we love watching her. So next we have Joe and Scott.
Joe and the baker.
Yes, and the super hot baker, who, by the way, is British. And we tweeted with him, and he might be coming in next year, 2016. So keep going for that. We're kind of have a little 12 minutes. All right. Yeah. We started 15. A little late. So okay, great. 15. That's great. We're like, what? Okay, so Joe Scott, they opened this bakery and basically it's supposed to be a vegan bakery.
It is, but while she comes in early, she's like, where's all the vegan pastries? Where's everything? And he tells her, you need to diversify. Change is good. Let's not just do vegan. And she's like, no, this is vegan. We got to do vegan, And she fires him. But then at the opening of the bakery, he's there, and she chooses to have the bakery vegan and non-vegan.
Yeah, because what he makes looks so damn good.
Yeah, and I think that's really good that they made this pastry place vegan and non-vegan.
Yeah, everyone says do what you know.
Yes.
And she's not a vegan. He's like, you're not even a vegan anymore.
Exactly.
I'm not a vegan. And during the party they had, which all the ladies were there to support her, I loved scenes where they're all together supporting each other. Some jerk guy, comments when Joe announces the restaurant and says it's going to be half vegan, half non-vegan. He's like, oh, this guy sucks, basically.
I thought it was all a vegan place.
Yeah, talking about Scott, and Joe stands up for him, and it looks like it's a success for the moment.
Yeah.
And, then Joe and Scott briefly talk. Joe's like, I'm not going to have sex with you. And Joe has said many times, Scott is a sex addict. Don't have sex with him.
I need to understand. This is what I want to know. Has Joe had sex with Scott? That's what we don't know.
That's true.
Listeners, viewers, please let us know your comments and let us know what you think. Did Joe sleep with Scott?
Yeah.
That's what we really want to get into, because she's very vocal about it, yet she tells everybody don't sleep with him, and she doesn't want to sleep with him herself.
Yeah, well, either she has, or I think she will again, or somebody else will. Someone's gonna, it's like, I get it, writer. Someone's gonna sleep with Scott.
Phoebe.
I mean, who? That could be a just train wreck, but a great one.
Yeah, we like to see two train wrecks, just getting it on. Yeah.
Then we have Abby and Shishi at her new job. She kind of got bummed out by the conversation she had with Barbara the week before. It's like, I'm a real woman of divorce. I'm depressed. Like, my life is awful.
And then she goes to, and basically they have a conversation, Barbara and her.
Yeah, and the main editor guy. And Abby is pitching real women now. They don't want that. Not at all.
No, basically Abby told Barbara, why don't you go out on the dates and I'll write about it? And they said, no.
Yeah.
You're the face of divorce, so you're gonna write about it, you're gonna go on these dates, and they want to make it cute and pretty for the press. So they want to find her the right guy that looks great in the press to date, the clothing, everything.
Yeah. And, it was nice of Abby, though, to do that. I also think she's starting to feel guilty about the Jake thing, which we'll get into next.
Oh, yes, that's a good one.
But, yeah, it's an interesting dynamic with her new job. She's literally lying just constantly. But you could look at it as writing fiction. I mean, she's a writer.
Yes, and that's a great thing that you said, writing fiction, because that could be a great way for her to get out of the mess when they find out that she's not divorced, or she's not divorcing, or she's got back with her husband. What I like, what's going on here with Joe and with Abby and Jake. Abby, she doesn't know what she wants.
No.
And I love that about her character, because again, she was miserable in her marriage. Let's go. She's having all this fun and she's finding new things about herself. And then we have Jake coming back. He's a rejuvenated Jake. He has a job. He wants Abby back. But now Abby's like, I love you. I care for you. I'm having fun. But I don't know if this is what I want after being miserable for so many years.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's have that spiral us into Abby and Jake and everything they've been through this episode. It's very up and down.
Yes.
At the beginning of the episode, they try to hook up in Jake's new apartment, and it's just not a fantasy anymore. It's been killed. Like, it's just not as exciting and fun, but they still love each other and are super into each other. And then there's another scene in the episode when they're out in Hollywood, Abby and Jake, and Abby thinks that someone's taking a photo of them. They're kissing on the street. She freaks out and literally leaves him and just runs away from him.
Yes.
And he sees it's someone's taking a photo of a housewife.
One of the Real Housewives of Orange.
Was that I know the first
Orange
one.
Orange County. And since they're bringing, what do we call them, day players? Also, that's another question that I want to ask the fans. What other last week they brought in Kyle from Beverly Hills Housewives. Now they have this episode was the one for Orange County. So what other housewives do you guys want the show to bring?
Yeah, and also they had Joss Whedon in the first episode, an amazing writer, producer, director. He's just like fantastic. I want to know who else you guys think they could or should or will bring into the show, because the show's based in LA. Everywhere they shoot almost, I have been there, and it's like very close to me. So it's cool for Los Angeles, I think, kind of to watch the show.
Do you have any favorite housewife that you would like to see on the show?
You know what? I can't get that into the housewives. I liked Kyle in the first episode. Yeah.
I think they get like one line or under 5. I think it's an under 5 that they get.
Yeah. So, it's always fun to watch.
Yeah.
We'll see. Let's then get to quickly about Jake and Becca.
Jake and Becca.
That was an intense scene, and I actually really felt for Becca. It was not cool.
So Jake and Becca decided to have the baby, and Jake meets with her again, basically saying, is this really really what you want to do?
If you don't want to, that'd be cool. Basically is like what he said.
But you know what? I really felt he wasn't being a douchebag. He wasn't being mean. He was being genuine. And he said, is this is something you really want to do? But at the same time, he made it very clear to her, I am done having children. I've already done it. I already did all that. So basically, he's being clear to her, telling her, okay, if you are going to have this baby, just know that I'm done having kids. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to take care of them, but maybe I may not be there in the ways that you're thinking a father should be. Yeah. Or as much as you would want me to be in this kid's life.
Right. I also feel like he wanted to just set in again, like, we're not getting back together. Like, I don't want you to think that something is going to happen between us and we will be together having this baby. Like, that part of my life is over. And I don't really think, I think in the back of Becca's mind, you could tell she might have some hope. But, and she has another guy, but that other guy is like a joke.
I think with time, as we see the episodes, I think when she sees the support that hopefully she will get from Abby when she finds out, that she'll realize, you know what, Jake is a great guy, but, wasn't meant to be for me.
And just to jump back for a second, we forgot to mention the end conversation kind of that Abby and Jake had, which was, Jake said he needed to tell Abby something, which we all think is going to be Becca, about her getting pregnant.
But instead, basically, Jake sits down with Abby, and Abby is just kind of like excited, telling him, oh, by the way, Joe decided to move. So
right.
Abby tells Jake, Joe's moving, maybe we don't have to sneak around anymore. But she also lets him know, I'm not sure if I want you in the house. I'm not sure if I want you living back here again. I'm not sure what I want.
Yeah, she's just not ready. And I applaud Abby for being so honest.
And she was honest, and Jake still hasn't been honest. He has not told Abby about the baby.
Right. And instead, his news is that he is going to be away for 4 months shooting the Joseph Gordon-Levitt film. God, I hope he makes a little appearance. That'd be kind of cool.
So this is where, again, there's a problem for me here. You have here Abby being so completely honest with this man, so open, yet he's still keeping something that, can make or break the future of their relationship.
What's really messed up is I think he was banking on Becca changing her mind so he wouldn't ever have to tell Abby.
Oh, that is such a dude move.
It's so gross. He's waiting for this poor girl to, get an abortion so he doesn't have to tell his ex/current wife that this is going to get a lot more complicated.
I didn't even think about it. But
yeah, it's gross. Guys are... Sorry, a lot of guys are they're good. Some guys are good guys, but, they have some issues. Okay, let's wrap up and then we'll get some quick predictions here.
Yes.
Lastly, Joe and Abby have a conversation. We talked about it in the beginning. She gets pissed at Abby because she confronts Abby and says that she's moving out, but she also knows her and Jake are back together. And then Abby says, "Oh, did Lily tell you?" And then she gets pissed that she put her daughter in a position to lie.
You wish she shouldn't have. Predictions. So with Joe and Abby, this is not a prediction. This is just what I hope the writers would do, is that Joe takes a little bit longer moving. Something happens that Joe doesn't...
No, she's gone. She moved into the apartment across from Jake.
Oh, that's right. That was the ending.
Yeah, at the end, Joe moves into the apartment across, the little hall, whatever.
Writers,
Jake.
can you guys bring her back to the house? I like Joe in the house. Especially, look, she brought in that crazy character, Scott. So
yeah, they'll still be around.
Yes, that was the icing on the cake at the end when he moves across from Jake and Jake is just looking at Joe like, no.
Yeah.
Why does Joe dislike her so much?
They don't like each other. Joe was not very nice this whole episode, honestly. And I understood it sometimes, and then sometimes I thought she was being ridiculous.
But there's something in the back that before we saw the show that happened, because Jake just doesn't like Joe. He doesn't appreciate her.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll get to it later on.
Okay, so do you have any other predictions? We didn't do the little prediction sound, but that's okay. We're on a time crunch.
Right now, there's not a lot of predictions because everything has been dispersed. My predictions is lots of hot guys, please. That's all. I want Abby to be dating, and Phoebe too.
Yeah. Quick question for you though. What about Will? Do you think he's done?
No, he's coming back, baby. No, Will is coming back. I'm telling you, and he's coming like this big time writer. Like his book got picked up, and it was all because of Abby was his inspiration.
He's like, "You're my muse. I'm not going to let you go."
Yes.
But guys, comment and tell us if you think we are just in denial, because we love that guy so much.
And we want to bring him in the show, too.
We really do. We don't care if you're on it or not, honestly. We'd love to hear your opinion and experiences, and just we want to be next to him.
He's coming back.
Yeah, he's coming back. Mm-hmm. And hopefully we'll get him in the studio, which would be amazing. Please respond to my tweet. Yeah. I think that we're going to see Phoebe find someone else. I don't want to see her go down a not good road. But if, she ended up having to break up with this guy because of her partying ways, maybe that is an indication that her partying ways are going to still be a roadblock in her life. And maybe she'll find someone that is more like her.
Yeah, but I want to see train wrecks after train wrecks. That's what the drama is about.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But at the same time, these people have kids. Oh, my God. Oh. I know. And we never see Phoebe's children. We've seen them maybe 3 times, very, very briefly. Mm-hmm. I think that Delia, and... Gordon, I think we're going to forget him soon because I don't think it's going to last. I think her and her weird boss Albert,
Hot Albert.
Yes. They might have a thing, and I guess she likes older men. So there you go. I guess that pretty much wraps it up for this week, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, please keep on commenting. We love hearing from you. One more time, Isis, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and all that good stuff at Isis Velazguez and the number 4.
And guys, of course, you can find me, Sam Davidson, at SamD43 and SamDavidsonEntertainment.com. And also, please don't forget to follow AfterBuzz TV at AfterBuzz TV on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, the works. Thank you guys so much. We will see you next week. And
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.